Welcome to today's story, one of the most credible paranormal events in history. Unlike other tales that captivate us with their outlandish details, this story stands out because of its unwavering credibility. Imagine 12 witnesses coming forward with the same astonishing account, and to top it off, a NASA engineer delved into the investigation, uncovering tangible proof that leaves little room for doubt. If you're fascinated by the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in a gripping narrative format, you're in the perfect place. We dedicate ourselves to bringing you these intriguing stories every week. So, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, swap out stick deodorant for cream cheese if you must, and make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on all notifications so you never miss a single one of our weekly uploads. Now let's dive into today's incredible story. The Oldsmobile's headlights cut through the pine-scented darkness of FM 1485, 30 miles northeast of Houston's gleaming skyline. The dashboard clock read 9:17 p.m., December 29, 1980. Funny how specific details stick in your mind when your world's about to turn inside out. Later, Betty Cash would remember that clock's green glow, would see it in her dreams, would wake up sweating with those luminous numbers burned into her retinas. Betty's hands were steady on the wheel, just like always. She was that kind of woman, reliable, solid as a Texas limestone foundation. The kind of friend who'd drive you home from a truck stop dinner without thinking twice about it. The heater hummed, fighting off the unusual winter chill that had crept down from the north like an unwelcome guest. In the passenger seat, Vicky Landrum, 57 but with enough love in her heart to mother the world, kept one hand on her grandson's knee. Colby, 7 years old and small for his age, sat between them on the bench seat, drowsy from dinner and the car's gentle motion. He didn't know his grandmother was watching him with that particular mix of love and worry that seems to come standard issue with raising someone else's child. Some responsibilities choose you, don't they? Just reach right out and grab you by the throat. The night pressed against the car windows like black velvet, broken only by the occasional mailbox reflector or the distant mercury vapor glow of farmhouse security lights. Pine trees lined the road like silent sentinels, their branches reaching across the asphalt here and there, creating tunnels of darkness that seemed to stretch into forever. None of them knew it yet. How could they? But this ordinary December night was about to become anything but. In the years to come, they'd measure their lives in two distinct chapters: everything before this drive home and everything after. That's how it goes sometimes. You're just living your life, thinking about what's for breakfast tomorrow, or whether you remember to buy dog food, and then bam, reality splits wide open like a rotten watermelon, showing you all the strange, terrible things that were hiding just beneath the skin of the world all along. The Oldsmobile's engine purred, eating up the dark miles of Highway 1485. The radio played low, some country station out of Houston, Dolly Parton singing about working 9 to 5, and Colby's head began to nod. Just another quiet night in East Texas. But it wouldn't stay quiet, no sir, not for long. The December night pressed its cold fingers against the Oldsmobile's windows, but inside, Vicky Landrum was thinking about the fog on the windshield. Funny how the mind fixates on ordinary things right up until the moment the extraordinary comes calling. The defroster hummed to life under her touch, its warm breath slowly clearing away the condensation, like God's own eraser working across a steamed-up canvas. That's when she saw it. The light hung above the tree line, a celestial intruder that had no business being there. At first, Vicky's mind did what minds always do. It reached for the rational explanation, served up something safe and digestible. Just a plane heading for Houston International, she thought. Nothing to worry about, nothing at all. But even then, some deep-down part of her knew better. That lizard brain thing we all carry around, the part that knows when something's wrong before we do. Betty Cash kept driving, her hands steady on the wheel, while 7-year-old Colby dozed between them, innocent as only children can be. The trees along Highway 1485 watched their passing with ancient indifference, their pine needle fingers scratching at the night sky. But that light, that damned light, wasn't following any flight path Vicky had ever seen. The temperature inside the car began to climb. It happened gradually at first, then all at once, like water reaching its boiling point. Sweat beaded on Vicky's forehead, her breath coming in short, sharp gulps. The air grew thick, syrupy, like trying to breathe through wet cotton. Later, she'd remember this moment lying awake at 3 a.m., wondering if this was how it felt in those last moments before drowning. "Is it hot in here?" she started to ask, but the words died in her throat as the light, that impossible, terrible light, suddenly burst from behind the trees like some vengeful angel. It hung there, maybe 100 feet ahead, close enough now that Vicky could see it wasn't just light at all, but something solid and real and wrong. "Betty, stop!" The words tore from Vicky's throat like living things. The Oldsmobile's brakes screamed against the asphalt, and time seemed to stretch like taffy. Colby jerked awake, his sleepy confusion turning to wide-eyed terror as he saw what awaited them on the road ahead. The dashboard clock read 9:23 p.m., though none of them were looking at it now, and the mercury had already started its inexorable climb towards something that would change their lives forever. There it hung, blocking their path, a diamond-shaped craft larger than any car, glowing like a burning coal pulled straight from hell's own furnace. The air around it rippled and danced, distorting the night behind it like a funhouse mirror. And the heat, dear God, the heat, pressed against them like a physical thing, turning the inside of Betty's Oldsmobile into an oven set to broil. Some nights change you forever. Some nights reach down into your soul with burning fingers and rearrange everything you thought you knew about the world. This was one of those nights, and it was only just beginning. Vicky felt the sweat rolling down her back now, her cotton blouse sticking to her skin like a second layer of fear. Betty's knuckles had gone white on the steering wheel, and little Colby, poor sweet Colby, had started to whimper, a sound that would haunt his grandmother's dreams for years to come. None of them spoke. None of them could. They just sat there, 3 souls in a metal box, watching as something impossible hovered before them on that lonely stretch of Texas highway. The night had stopped being ordinary, and nothing would ever be the same again. The first sign that something was wrong wasn't the light, it was the heat. Funny how your body knows things before your mind catches up, how your animal brain starts screaming danger while your civilized self is still trying to make sense of it all.